Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to BhagavatSanga program. This is our Śrīmad Bhāgavatam program where we read prayers of pure devotees. The current theme is prayers of King Satyavrata. These are from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 24, verse 46 to 53. Today we have one very wonderful devotee, His Grace Radha Damodar Prabhu, who will be presenting these verses and sharing the realization. Hare Krishna Prabhu, over to you.
Hare Krishna. So let me start sharing the screen now. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. All right. So, today we'll be talking about the prayers of King Satyavrata. So this is from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, 8th Canto, 24th chapter, verses from 46 to 53. We'll try to cover whatever we can do. We can cover, but before we start, we'll start with the prayers. Okay, so Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadoje Amudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtagi Om Ajnanatimendasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam mena tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhuve Vacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavanda Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanabhaya Namo Pankajamayine Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajakriye. Okay, so Hare Krishna devotees, first of all I would like to thank Satsara Prabhu, Jai Subhadra Mataji, Veena Mataji and Prashant Prabhu to give me a chance to do this service. So today, many devotees have covered in the past, but I still go through quickly the background. So at the end of the previous yuga, there was a king named Satyavrata, and he was a great devotee. And while doing his daily ablation in the river, a small fish came up and made a request to the king for protection. And devotees are compassionate, and out of compassion, he decided to help, and the king placed the fish in a small water pot. Soon, the fish began to grow big, and Satyavrata Muni king had to transfer it to another larger pot, and eventually to a larger pond, then eventually to a larger lake, and eventually finally to the ocean. Okay, so when Satyavrata saw this extraordinary fish, then the divine power, king realized that this is not an ordinary fish. It is nothing but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here then after inquiry, the Lord revealed that he is the Matsya Avatar, that is a fish incarnation, and the purpose of his incarnation also. So there is going to be a pralaya, inundation going to happen, and the whole world is going to be submerged in water. And during that time, the Lord would again appear as a fish, in the fish form. And king was instructed to gather all the living beings and the herbs and the sages and seeds, and prepare a large boat which would be provided. And at the time of flood, he can tie that boat to the fish. Fish has a horn, and he can tie to that horn. And when finally when the flood came, the king saw the boat, and he got into the he tied to the fish, and then he started offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's the prayers we are going to study. So the first prayer is this one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Raja Uvacha Anadi Avidyo Atma Samvitas Tanmula Samsara Parisramaturaha Yadrichayo Pastraya Yam Apanayor Vimuktido Na Paramo Gurur Bhavan. The translation and purport by Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king said, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, and who because of this ignorance are involved in a material and conditional life full of miseries, obtain the chance to meet the Lord's devotee. I accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Spiritual Master. So the theme here, so there are actually this verses are, these prayers are mostly about the spiritual master, and the significance of spiritual master, importance of spiritual master, how to surrender to spiritual master. That's all the whole prayer. And interestingly, this is one of the smallest set of prayers I could see, from 46 to 53, verses 46 to 53. But I'm not sure we'll be able to cover all of them, but whatever we can cover, we'll try. So let's try to understand the 46th verse. So the theme here is the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Spiritual Master. So now the question, so we will understand this from why we are calling the Supreme Spiritual Master, right? So first of all, Srila Prabhupada says the Lord is not merely a deity to be worshipped, but he is the original Guru, Param Guru. He knows the condition of each conditioned soul and appear in various forms. So Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has mentioned that. And so Krishna comes in various incarnations, and to guide the afflicted people. So the whole purpose of Krishna coming is to help us, help the devotees to come out of the situation. Okay, Paritranaya, so Vinashaya Chadurshadam. So also to destroy the demons, the faithless people. So so here, so Krishna also can send acharyas, representatives, or as incarnation. He can come as a true incarnation. Various types of incarnations are there, but at the same time, Krishna can also send a acharya, and Lord remains the Lord remains the original source for the guidance, even to the Guru, right? The true Guru is the one who follows the scriptural injunction, whatever as spoken by Krishna. So the person who truly represent Krishna is the true acharya. So that's the person we want to worship. So Supreme Lord, why are we calling him the Supreme Spiritual Master? Because even to the acharyas, he is the true representative. So the source of guidance still comes from the Supreme Lord. Now we know that as soon as somebody becomes serious about self-realization, right? So he begins to inquire, right? What is the truth about who is this absolute truth, and what is the nature of it? He tries to find out. It at least begins in his mind. Now, by his fortune, pure by fortune, he when we are sincere in our inquiry, he come across some devotees, right? When he's comes across a devotee, Krishna is sitting in the heart as Paramatma. Krishna knows our desire. When once we are sincere, Krishna sends a bona fide representative to guide us. Okay, so Krishna is sitting as Chaitya Guru within our heart. Now he's so compassionate that he sends a human person, a living person, to guide us. So, and that person, if he's a bona fide person, he actually strictly follows the instructions of Krishna, right? So that's why we call this point as the supreme spiritual master. Spiritual master is full of knowledge about what needs to be done by this disciple, but but he also still gets guidance, right? We see that various verses in Bhagavad Gita also explains this concept. Now, I also wanted to think about this few pastimes which I read a little bit from the Krishna book, how Krishna gives the intelligence to the everyone. So when we are sincere, we get the intelligence. So I was reading the Samantaka jewel story from the Krishna book, and there are two places where Krishna is giving this intelligence to the devotees, right? So first example is Jambuvan. Jambuvan was fighting with Krishna for a long time, and finally Jambuvan got tired, and Jambuvan understood that he cannot be an ordinary person. He has to be, and he has been fighting with Krishna. So it's an offense in one sense. So once Jambuvan understood this has to be Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wanted to repent, right? So now Krishna gave the intelligence how to repent, right? Krishna gave the intelligence that, okay, so just to satisfy Lord, he immediately delivered the some Samantha jewel. So first purpose was to give the Samantha jewel. That's why he came for, Krishna came for. But also he gave his daughter Jambavati in marriage, right? And so both together, that intelligence was given to by Krishna to Jambuvan. So one example. In the same story, there is another example where Krishna gives the intelligence on how to repent the mistake of King Satyajit. Okay, Satyajit was actually very eager to. So Satyajit had offended Krishna. So now the only way to mitigate this was to give the Samantha jewel back, and also he gave the right intelligence that to hand over um, both the jewel as well as his daughter Satyabhama also in marriage. So these two intelligences were given by Krishna. So when we are sincerely seeking for guidance, Krishna gives that special intelligence to us, right? So that's something I thought of in this context. We wanted to bring it up. Now, Lord is always engaged in helping the conditioned soul in many ways, right? Constantly. And now this is one feature of the Lord which we have to understand. This constantly helping the conditioned soul is not an occasional thing of the Lord, right? It is the intrinsic nature of the Lord. So by intrinsic next, so we learned elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yajnasavasang Sarva Maheshwaram Sugridam Sarva Bhutana. So he is the friend of all, right? So Krishna can give this intelligence to everyone, I mean, it's by intrinsic nature, Krishna wants to help everyone, right? But it's our we are not fortunate that that we are not taking that guidance, that help, or rather, we are so corrupted, meaning so much materially afflicted, right? Our material desires are so much that we don't recognize Krishna's this helping hand, right? But we uh, we just ignore that, and most often we are not even able to recognize the help being offered. The help is coming from various angles, but it takes a lot of courage and to understand, and not just courage, it takes a lot of humility to understand these various help that is being offered to us. And we all go through these situations where we have difficulties, and Krishna is actually guiding us, but our condition is so bad that we are not able to take those helps. Now, what is the role of the spiritual master, Acharya, right? So, so those representatives or spiritual masters acting on behalf of the Lord should not be dismissed merely as a ordinary human being. That's very important. So, for us, we something to understand is we often dismiss these people, the acharyas, as ordinary human beings, right? So that is not good. So we see that whatever they are doing, we are also doing. What's the difference between us and this acharya, right? So acharya also sleeps, eats, and does various activities. We are also doing the same thing. So we tend to compare ourselves with the acharya, but that's not correct. So even though externally they may appear as a human, and internally and by function, they carry the Lord's authority. So that is the important part. So they carry the Lord's message, Lord's authority here. So in embracing Krishna consciousness. So very important to understand that uh, they are the carrier or messenger of the Lord, right? So we have to give that importance to the Lord, to this spiritual master. And another important point is Acharya is to be respected as one who acts under the Lord's direction, and is therefore equated in terms of function with the Lord himself. So this is also important point. So we should, Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport saying, Sashal Charitvena Samasta Shastra Yukta Sadaba Yadev Siddhe Kintu Prabhoya Priyevadase Vande Gurum Sri Charanarvindam. So that means we have to consider the law, the spiritual master, as good as Krishna himself, because he's directly carrying the messages of Krishna, right? So this is also important, that some realization we have is that we had to understand that we had to be very careful when we are associating with the spiritual master, because we tend to think that he is an ordinary human being. And when we get very close to the spiritual master, we can see, or we start observing various things from the spiritual master, and we get the wrong impression about him, right? So that's actually a very dangerous situation. Then once we start seeing that some faults then we think that we compare that to an ordinary human being. So then we think that, okay, he's doing something wrong here. For an example, people start saying that Krishna, why did he do Ras Leela, right? So that's the people think it as a fault, right? So, but they don't know, we don't know the position of Krishna. Krishna everybody belongs to Krishna. So Krishna is free to do whatever he wants. But that's not how, as an ordinary human being or people in ignorance see. People in ignorance, or those who are in the path of self-realization, in that initial stage, we'll all see that we only see the faults. Okay, it's very natural. So we have to be very careful when we associate with um, uh, advanced devotees and spiritual masters, right? So because we will unknowingly start committing offenses. First it starts at the mind, then we start committing externally as well. So it's better to keep a certain distance with the um, very advanced devotees who are in much advanced stage, right? Because they out of their compassion, they might be helping us a lot, but still we need to keep a distance and always remember their position, right? As a spiritual master's position, they are the representative of the Lord, right? Now later in this purport, Srila Prabhupada says, I mean, in the verse itself, it says, Acharya mam vijñānayat, meaning this to affirm that one should accept Guru as a person who acts under the Lord's order. That is very important, as we explained earlier. And Acharya actually embodies the Lord's message interpreted and taught in scriptures, and to be honored accordingly. So Acharyas have to may give a different version, meaning not different version, but not a deviated version, but depending on the time, place, and circumstances, Acharya might give us message differently in a way that is that we can understand. So that is the importance of Acharya's role, because for example, when Srila Prabhupada came to the United States, right, he was mostly dealing with hippies, right? To communicate with hippies, it was not the same way. Srila Prabhupada had to adapt different strategies, right? So Prabhupada had to speak in terms of the other day. Arjun Sakha Prabhu was mentioning about how Prabhupada answered about a person who is addicted to LSD, right? So Prabhupada said, in the spiritual world, it's greater than LSD, 1,000 times effect of LSD. So that's how when you go to, that's how he was able to communicate with the disciple, right? That kind of adjustments Acharya can do. That is why we say it's depending on the time, place, and circumstances. Acharya is so intelligent. Krishna gives that intelligence to the spiritual master, and he is able to communicate in a way that will be understood by the sincere seekers. Now, now reciprocity. So worship of Guru is also important, since Guru acts in the Lord's place, right, and conveys message. Devotee should worship and respect the lotus feet of the Guru. That's just as if we are worshipping the Lord Himself. That's what is recommended, right? and And so in Bhagavad Gita, we say how to approach a guru, right? Tadviti pariprachanena sevaya upadeshentre jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Okay, so that means just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master and inquire from him submissively, and the self-realized soul can impart the knowledge because they have seen the truth. So that's Bhagavad Gita verse says that they have seen the truth. They are self-realized. So they are trying to communicate that truth with us, right? So now I would like to actually get some prayers that was expressed by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu with respect to that verse. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's realization is that, please make me a true seeker, right? Not a blind follower or blind rejecter, right? So when we get into this mode, we can tend to be a blind follower sometimes, and as well as we can become a blind rejecter as well. We might reject all the philosophies blindly as well. We don't want to go into either of the extremes when we discuss with think about our guru, spiritual master, because our life is way complex, right? We will all encounter various issues, and when we approach a problem and see how a guru responds to it, we might get into this extreme situation as well. So we have to be a little careful about that as well. And another point, this is from this is a realization from Gauranga Darshan Prabhu in the same verse. So Prabhu says, Satyavrata is actually indicating to Matsya that the 7 sages, teachers of bhakti who have been merciful to me, are my gurus. But you who have taught them bhakti are the supreme guru for me. So the person, these elevated gurus are being taught by the the supreme guru. So that is why the supreme spiritual master, we consider this as the supreme spiritual master. I think that I was able to cover one verse. So I will stop sharing here. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhuveva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Back to you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So nice, Prabhu. You were talking and then suddenly I saw the time. I'm like, oh, it's already time, because it was so good, kept here listening. Really, you focused on one verse and focused on spiritual master, which is like, that's the key for Krishna consciousness. You started out with the narration of the pastime. Prabhu, how many ever times we hear the pastime is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. And then the story of Jambavan you shared, and how Krishna gives the right intelligence when it's required. And the message that you were conveying is that we are not recognizing the help that we are getting. We have spiritual master, but we are, not treating, we shouldn't treat them like normal human beings just because they do the same actions as what we are doing. We have to be very careful of how we behave with them, what we think of them. They are representing Krishna and they're giving Krishna's message. They're self-realized. So it's extremely important that we give the right respect to them and follow their instructions. That's the key message from today, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Devotees, thank you all for joining today for the BhagavatSanga program. It is Kartik month. Wish you all a happy Kartik month, and it's so auspicious to listen to Bhagavatam in this month. With that, we conclude the program. Hare Krishna.
Hare